Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am so excited for this video because we are going to be talking about the new Devinah Cosmetics Candy Cakes collection. So just to quickly sum up everything that's going to be in this review today, I'm going to start off by talking about the details of the collection, then I'm going to jump into all the shades, going to talk about their formula, the texture, the colors, swatch all of them, and then I also have some other single shadow comparisons which are a mixture of other Devinah shadows that already exist in their line, some from Clionadh and some from Looksy Beauty. Then I'm going to give you a really quick demo of the eye look that I've got going on today, which is using two different shades from the Candy Cakes collection. And then last but not least, at the end of the video, there are going to be eye swatches so you can see how every single one of these shades look on the eye. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into all that information. Okay, so first and foremost, this collection was sent to me in PR. That's why I have it a bit early, because it's actually launching today. May 1st is when you should be seeing this, or well, it's when it's uploading. Who knows? You could watch this month later. I don't know what you're doing with your life, but it is launching today, which is why I'm posting it today, just so you can make an informed decision on whether these shadows will add to your collection or if they're good for your personal preference. So this is going to retail for either $8 each for each single individual shadow, or you can get the bundle of 6 shades for $48. The bundles for Devinah are not a better value. They're just the simplicity of having to click the add to bag only one time. You can save 20% off the collection with my code AMYLOVES, which is an affiliate code, which means that I make a commission if you do choose to use that. If you do decide to use my code, I really appreciate it, but obviously no pressure. So let's go ahead and jump on in to some swatches. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot tell you, these were such love at first swatch moments. So the first shade here is Pancake Bubbles, and it is a yellow with a blue shift. I love shades like this, and I love this one even more because it is super, super shifty and beautiful, and it has a very intense icy blue shift to it. It's very hard to pick up on camera. Really, really beautiful. So pretty. So next we have the shade Creampuff Cuddles, and this is a hot pink with a blue shift. Again, I love shades like this, and this one is just so, so beautiful. Next we have the shade Sweet Sunbeam, and this is a really beautiful bronzy shade. It has like a very warm base to it, and then like a greeny gold shift. I don't know if you can kind of see that there. It is really stunning. If you are more into neutral shadows and you like a nice bronzy eye, this is a great option. Look at that. So sparkly. Okay, next we have the shade Confetti Kisses, and this is so beautiful because at first when I saw this, I thought it was kind of similar to a bunch of shades I already have, but it's actually very unique. This is a blue with a periwinkle shift, which again, I've seen so many shades like that, but the base of this is actually a really, really bright, almost cobalt blue. It almost has a little bit of a bluey green base to it as well in certain lightings, so it is very, very beautiful. Look at that. All right, next we have the shade Rainbow Blossom, and this is a really beautiful kind of greeny gold shadow, but I don't know if you can see it right there. It has a teal shift to it. This one's definitely a little bit more subtle. It's what I have all over my lid today. And then last but not least, we have the shade Mystic Moonpie, and this is another pretty cool shade. It's kind of like a silvery, just very cool tone taupey shade with a little bit of like a purpley, I don't even want to say berry base, but there's a color going on there, but it's kind of muted. Again, if you are more of a neutral lover, this could be a really beautiful option. If you like cool toned eyes, I think it's stunning. So, oh gosh, that was a weird swatch. See how pretty that is? So when I look at these colors together, it's kind of random. It's not like a color story where I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But it doesn't really matter to me because these are the kind of shades I would normally use one at a time all over the lid. Of all of these shades, I feel like this one and this one are the most unique. So let's go ahead and jump on into the discussion of the formula because I'm a big fan. If you don't already know, Devinah has their Willy Wonka Exploders, which was a collection of a bunch of like really light, almost pastel shades in a very sparkly formula. A lot of these lighter shades here, like this one, this pinky one are from that Willy Wonka collection. And then they have their sugar drops here, which was all very like very light iridescent shades. And then they also had ones that are like these darker shades here, which was their Galaxy Exploders. So they've had a few different collections with this very like soft, sparkly, magical formula. I love it. I love it so much, and I always end up using that with a glitter glue just because I feel like those shades can be a little bit more sheer when you swatch them out, and it's just because they're so soft that they need something to hold onto. I never viewed it as a con because I use glitter primer literally all the time, almost every single day. But if you are someone who tried any of those shadows and you felt like the formula was just too soft or almost just like too loose in the pan because they're very movable, I feel like this formula is just a step up from those shadows. This is just a little bit better because they're super pigmented. You could definitely use them without a glitter glue if you wanted to. You might get a little bit more fallout, but they'll appear more opaque on the lid. They're also a lot less loose in the pan. If I dip my finger in there, it doesn't like completely move the shadow around, which I appreciate, but it still has that same amazing texture to them. So I really like the formula of this collection. On one of Devinah's posts, they described them as a cross blend formula, and I feel like they really killed it with these. So let's go ahead and jump on into the comparisons. So we're going to start off with that first yellow called Pancake Bubbles. I have two shadows to swatch in comparison with this one, and this is really funny because the first one is the shade Soul from Cleona. I recently did a video talking about my top 10 single shadows ever, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Soul, but you've been replaced by Pancake Bubbles. It's like a really light yellow with a blue shift to it, but this is a satin formula. They're just a completely different formula. So there is Soul. And I definitely like Pancake Bubbles better. And then the other shadow I have to compare is Lick It Slam It Suck It from Looksy Beauty. And I just wanted to compare this because it is another yellow with a blue shift. But again, it's more just like a metallic formula. A little bit of a brighter yellow. So there are the yellow with blue shifts from my collection. And Pancake Bubbles is winning. It went to the top real fast. All right, next jumping into Creampuff Cuddles, the pink with the blue shift. I have quite a lot of comparisons for this one. The shade in my collection I feel like it's closest to would be Spotlight from Cleona. This is part of their stained glass collection. So those two are very similar. I would say Spotlight, the shift is almost a little bit more purple. The Devinah one is a little bit more true blue. And then from Looksy, I have Marshmallow Pillows, which was part of the Willy Wonka collection. And this is a pink with a blue shift to it, but it's much more of a light pink. So you can definitely see the difference in formula there as well. It's a lighter shade, but it's also a little bit more sheer when you first pack it on, a little bit more soft. And then I have two shadows from Looksy. The first is Tesla, which is another pink to blue shift. Again, this one is a little bit softer. And then I have the shade Bubblegum, which is kind of like a similar texture. It's a pink with like a yellowy green shift to it. So it's a little bit different, but I wanted to show it just because I feel like it's very dimensional and beautiful all over the lid as well. And I was already here. So there are your pink comparison swatches. I'm sorry, I actually had one more shade to compare to that, so I was going to go ahead and do I'm Coming Out from the new Nomad Cosmetics Studio 54 Disco Eyeshadow Quad. So I'm just going to swatch that on my hand compared to the Devinah one really quickly. So there's Devinah, and there's I'm Coming Out. And they're both beautiful. That's a weird swatch. Pretty similar shades, actually. Alright, now we're going to do Sweetie Sunbeam, the bronzy shade, and I've got two different shades from Cleona that I really want to compare this to. So the first shade that I have here is the shade Ornamental, which is a bronze shade. It has like more of like a greeny blue base to it and then the like golden shift. So definitely not the same color. Yeah, it's a little bit of a lighter gold. Really beautiful. And then the one that it reminded me of a lot, which made me really excited, was my shade Corrosion, which is one of my favorite shadows ever. It's not the same because Corrosion has a bit more of like a blue base to it, but I feel like it kind of gives Corrosion vibes, like Corrosion's sister or something. Yeah, Corrosion's older bronzier sister. So not quite the same, but I feel like it's in the same color family. I'm going to leave the blue for the end because it does tend to stain the skin just a little bit. So now going into the green, which is called Rainbow Blossom. Even though it's beautiful, it's just not quite as unique. And I feel like there's a lot of shadows out there that are like this color except in a multi-chrome, and I know they cost a little bit more. For example, this is the shade Mood Ring from Terra Moons, and they both have like that green shift, but then like this has so much more dimension to it. I love the way it looks all over the lid. It's definitely a bit more in the face, so it depends on what you're going for, but that's what this reminded me of, like a watered down version of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them next to each other. The Devinah one looks more sparkly on the lids, but there we go. And then also I wanted to go ahead and compare it to some other green shades that Devinah has already released, just in case you own them, even though I don't find them to be very similar. So first we have Asteria, which is one of my favorite shades. It is a green with a red shift to it, so not quite the same, but when you look at both of the green shifts, you might think, oh, are those similar? So I thought I may as well just go ahead and swatch them. And then we have the shade Celesta, which is a very like true kind of greeny gold. Man, those are some beautiful shades. And then as far as Mystic Moonpie goes, I don't have any comparisons for this one just because it's so unique. Now let's go ahead and jump on in to Confetti Kisses. And I just can't wait to show you the difference between this and the other shades, because at first, like I said, I was kind of like, have I seen this before? But it really is so uniquely beautiful. So the shade that I thought it was going to be similar to is the shade Swatches, which is a light blue with a periwinkle shift to it. This was again part of the Willy Wonka Exploders collection from Devinah. So you can see how different that is. Even though they have like essentially the same shift going through them, the base is so different. And then also from the Devinah line is the shade Everlasting Gobstopper, which is more of like a blue-green with a periwinkle shift to it. So you can see those all look pretty different from each other. So overall, I am really enjoying this collection. I think it is beautiful, and some of these shadows have quickly moved up to being my favorite single shadows. They're just stunning on the lids, and if you love dimension, these are dimensional. Okay, so now let's go ahead and jump on in to this look. Okay, so for the mattes in today's look, I'm going to use the Glaminatrix Cosmetics palette from Sandra Rose. Wait, no. That was all wrong. The Sandra Rose palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this shade right here called Vine, which is a really pretty green. I'm just going to go ahead and take Vine through my crease to start off with. Blending out super nice. I'm really impressed with the quality of this palette the more I use it. And then I'm also just going to take some of that along the lower lash line. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take the deeper green right here called Leaf. And I'm going to pop that on my outer V. And then just lightly start blending that out. So I'm just going to go back into my previous brush with no additional product and start blending that out. I'm also going to go ahead and take Leaf on a pencil brush and start blending that on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to dip back into that first green, Vine again, and just make that a little bit more impactful. I'm going to actually kind of load my brush up with some more of Vine and bring that right through my crease. Alright, now for the fun part, I'm going to go into Devinah Rainbow Blossom. I am, of course, going to go ahead and start off with my NYX glitter primer just to prime my lids and make them nice and tacky. And then with that same brush, I'm going to pick up Rainbow Blossom, which is going to pick up really well because the brush is still a bit tacky. And I'm going to pop that all over the lid. I got just a tiny little bit of fallout, so I'm going to go ahead and dust that away. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Pancake Bubbles, and I'm going to pop that on my inner corner. Not using any glitter glue or spraying my brush or anything, just using the Shadow Dry right now. Alright, so I'm going to finish off this look with some black liner, some mascara, and I'll be right back. Alright, for highlighter today, I'm going to go into my ColourPop Flexitarian. I have not used this in forever. My goodness, that is intense. And then for lips, I'm just going to use my Fenty Beauty Sweet Mouth Gloss Bomb. So this is the finished look. Now let's jump into the eye swatches. Before I show you the footage, I just want to let you know how I did them. So I prime my eyes every single time with the NYX Glitter Primer, and then I use my finger to apply the shadows just because that's easiest and fastest. As you saw in the demo, you can obviously apply them with a brush and they still work wonderfully, but this is just the way I like to do eye swatches. So now let's go ahead and roll right into that.
started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling. Falling, 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 falling,
So that's everything for today's video. If you enjoy my content and want to hear more about indie makeup from me and you have not subscribed already, definitely make sure to hit subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.